Um,
Okay. Well, welcome. Today's Tuesday. So Tuesday's Mastermind Speak to Grow. My name is Kathy Riley with Sharing the Shine. I am your personal leadership coach, your speaker coach, your queen cat herder. I am here to help you grow your business by using your voice in a strategic way, whether it's one-to-one or one-to-many. I am here to help you. And today, I wanted to talk about something that I think it impacts each and every one of us as entrepreneurs, and that is how do we stay productive? We wear many, many hats. Wouldn't you agree?
oh, I would.
Yeah. So, what we have to remember is we're the CEO, right? So, we have to put the CEO hat and we have to focus on the things that move our business forward and make the cash register ring. And we can get so distracted and focused on the things that we coulda, shoulda done that we overlook the things that we need to do. Mac and I were just chatting about Zoom and one of the benefits of doing Zoom meetings post COVID and how it is effective and productive. It doesn't replace getting belly to belly and face to face, but it's pretty darn close. And I'll share with you, Mac. I was since I became a mom. My daughter's 18, but in the last, I'd say 5 years pre-COVID, I was utilizing Zoom more because I wanted to be home when she got home from school. That was like, I'm doing this entrepreneurial thing because I wanted to be home when she got home from school, which meant that a lot of these face to faces were sometimes a waste of time, honestly, because people wouldn't show up, right? Or the conversation wasn't on point, or just things happened. So I utilized Zoom way back when and said, I'm only doing Zoom meetings for the most part. I mean, I do the face to face too, but I incorporated probably 75% of my meetings were Zoom, and it made me more productive because you think drive time there, getting there, doing what you got to do. And I used to stack my meetings. So I would have, Tuesdays and Thursdays, I would be at a location and I would just stack my meetings all day long. And I always have my computer. But what I was able to find out is utilizing Zoom, I'm able to do more meetings, be more productive, and be more present with my family. So the productivity on that for me made it worth the while. And then COVID hit and everybody's like, let's Zoom. And I'm like, yeah, everybody wants to Zoom now. I love it. I agree with you in that there does not replace the face to face, but it is a good second best because to me, a phone call, I can't see you, right? Phone calls are just okay. And there are people that do phone calls and, God love them, bless and release. I like being able to see you. This is so close to meeting face to face. So in the topic of being more productive, what are some of the things that you recommend that you like to do that make you more productive?
You know, after a 50-year career, I can honestly say that I was always in a layman's position of being very pro-tech. I remember when fax machines first came out, and it was going to be $650. So instead of just running out and spending that money as a young father, I did a Franklin T, as I've called it, the pros and cons. And at that time, I would have to handwrite an order. I would have to put it on the company's order form, not the dealer's thing. So I was actually transferring it. And then I would have to call up and you're friendly, You're talking to the customer service. They're like your best friend at the company. How's your day? How's the weather? And I noticed that I was averaging 15 to 20 minutes to call in an order because we had to make sure it was right and the SKU number was accurate and the pricing that I gave was accurate. And then I discovered fax machines. And in 30 seconds, I could fax over the order. They had the hard copy in front of them, and I didn't have to do the work and I could move on. Cell phones came out. My first cell phone was in a suitcase. And I was still living in New Mexico, driving to Colorado on I-25, and I didn't have to stop at every payphone and check messages over that 500-mile drive. But when I got the first bill, it was $600, and I freaked. So I like technology. I discovered Zoom during COVID. As I've come to say, it's the only good thing that came out of COVID. And it does give us this one-on-one, like we're almost in person. Plus, I think participants are much more comfortable and they see that their time is more productive and less of it being used. Because if I drove 500 miles, they better give me a couple hours. And here we're comfortable doing 30 minutes or an hour if we have to. So I'm a believer in it.
Yes, technology. Technology. What is some of the new technology that you're using now that makes you more productive?
I'm dabbling with AI. I tried the chat GBT. I'm using a site that I think is a little bit better called Now Site. And part of that is a guy that I follow, Eric Worre, uh, is the pseudo avatar for this site. Obviously, he's promoting it himself, but I've taken a couple of his classes at 10 grand a year. And yeah, and I like him. He thinks like I do. And that's what it's all about. I've been thinking about authenticity so much, and people look at me in my cowboy hat and my American flag and the stuff, but that's who I am. I'm not a khaki guy. I have 100 and some ties in my closet. I don't think I've worn one more than once in 10 years. Um, but take me or leave me. At this point in life, I don't worry about it too much. We've talked a lot about having to cater to who you speak to.
Yeah.
And I think a couple of weeks ago, we talked about if my time was shortened on the end of the stage. And I actually thought about it, if I was that concerned that I had to play to the coach of the stage, I probably would do exactly as you suggested and have a 3 minute or a 5 minute instead of a 15-minute presentation. But it really galls me.
Okay. It is okay to be frustrated in a situation like that because it's not your fault, but it's also not the audience's fault.
Correct.
And at
Correct.
the end of the day, when you're speaking, it's about the audience.
And for me, I've actually said it to several of the people that we're associated with. The seminar part is very important. That's how you open a door, either to let yourself in or let somebody else in. Um, but I'm much more productive one-on-one, standing in the hallway or having breakfast with somebody than ever I am inside the speech center, so to speak, the trade
Yeah.
show itself.
Yeah. And that's why when you're speaking at an event, it is good to show up for the entire event.
Yeah,
Like get there for the networking before,
yeah,
because you are able to get belly to belly and face to face with your audience. It's really good if they have a lunch break or a dinner break, go break bread with them,
yeah.
go bond with the audience. And then if there's, if you have the ability to have a table, right? Make use, be productive the entire time. Have a table, have tchotchkes or some information, maybe a lead magnet, something they can walk away with so they can stay in touch with you. Maybe it's even, you have a QR code for a downloadable. So as you're talking with them and you're face to face, oh, by the way, why don't you grab my, 5 tips for this? And you can download it right here, capturing their email address. Now you're able to continue to build that relationship as you grow your email list. Have hang out afterwards. If there's a happy hour, use the time, be there before, during, and after to really, really bond with your audience. It's almost like a 75 to 80% of the business happens post stage, post meeting. So that's why being productive and doing that, that's huge.
Well, and most of my career, I've always looked at being the first one to arrive, the last one to leave. If I'm not the first to arrive for whatever reason, the plane was delayed or I drove, 500 miles and everybody else lived in town. Um, I would be fashionably 20 minutes late. And when I walk into a room, I command a room. I wear a cowboy hat everywhere. Yeah, the people in Texas wonder about it. Yeah, but it's kind of how who I am. And talking, the guys in Texas said, "Why are you wearing a cowboy hat?" I said, "Because I'm on the other side of the trade show, and everybody that walks in the door can say, 'There's Mac.' And they will come over to me because they know I have something special." And
Yeah.
that whatever trinket it is that I'm selling, tied into improving their business overall.
Yeah. Having that confidence, right? Whatever that looks like for you or for me or for anyone. Um, just showing up as your authentic self, being confident enough to be authentic.
Well, when we were at university and you were talking Friday, I think it was, I had that exact same thought about you because you were bouncing around and you had us up jumping. It's and I love it. It's not really my style to do it at the front of the room, but I was teasing another gal that's involved with us, Sushma. I went to one of her seminars and she had me dancing to uh, Pharrell. Is that his name? Pharrell?
Oh,
And
yeah, yeah.
yeah, and I think I saw him on The Voice one time, but when I was watching Blake Shelton, but I cracked up. I said if nobody would anticipate or even consider that Mac was dancing to Pharrell, you got to laugh at yourself. Humor's a big part of it.
Absolutely.
Oh,
Absolutely. We can't take anything too seriously.
no.
This life is too short to take it too seriously. So you have to laugh and you have to be willing to make mistakes. You have to be willing to understand that not everybody is going to like you.
Oh,
Right? Not everyone that you meet is going to do business with you. There are people in that room. There were people in that room on Friday. I could tell that were just like, oh, good God, she's just, and I'm like, that's okay. They, stood up and kind of, were high fiving, but there was nothing more. And that's okay. You do you. I'm going to do me. And
Yeah.
the people that moved and joined and they were the high fiving and they were like, yes. And they felt awesome at the end of those 33 seconds of energized insanity. They were like, yeah, I get this. I get this. And the people that get it, those are my people. So the people that when you walk into the room and they look at you, they're like, yeah, I need to know who that guy is. Look at him. I need to know who those are your people, and you're not going to please everybody.
No. Well, exactly. And, you know, and I don't know if it's an older, I've lived life a whole lot longer. I'm still doing what I'm doing. I'm surviving with all that I do. If it's because I've done so much that I have a different perspective, or if some 20-year-old has a similar perspective, that we're learning all the time. And I try to help people. That's a big part of what I do is people that are going into business. They want to be, everybody likes the idea of owning a business. It's mine, and I don't have to answer to somebody, but I do have to take the trash out at midnight.
Yeah.
So, uh, and for those of us that have been in business a long time, we know, yeah, maybe we can be at our kids' function if we know about it 3 weeks in advance. We don't have to ask permission to not come in, but we're also working harder as far as physical hours than more than most. And that where they're going and they're punching a clock. I have people ask me all the time, how do you do so much? You're always busy. I says, I don't know. I just do. But what I do, I was up in the mountains fishing this week and I had to get away. I had cell service and I turned in an order that came across on Saturday.
Nice.
So Monday morning when they got it, it was already on the way. So I didn't have to wait. So that's part of the technology thing, but also being comfortable. I don't look at work being a four-letter word. I enjoy 95% of it. I enjoy the people I get to meet. And if they're not for me, it's really easy to walk away instead of that person that's in the cubicle next to you. You hate them, and it's the boss's son.
Yeah. I mean, productivity also comes down to, our energy. So, we traded the 9 to 5 job for the 24/7 entrepreneurial world is what we truly did. I mean,
What were we thinking?
but there's, but we love what we do.
Yeah.
We traded helping somebody else achieve their dream to uh, helping ourselves accomplish our own dreams, be on our own mission. And there's yes, there's a price to pay when it comes to your time. However, when I say I'm living the dream, I really am. Every day's a gift. I get to do this. I get to spend Tuesdays with people like you, Mac. I get to help individuals use their voice. I get to do this. And when you have that perspective, you become more productive because you know that there's only 24 hours in a day. There's only so much time you have your priorities, you've made it, what they are. Everything you do is in alignment with your priorities so that you can say no to the things that don't matter and say yes to the things that do. And go fishing. And oh yeah, I've got my technology because technology makes us productive. Got that order in. Yep, that was cool. That was easy. Back to fishing. So we're able to be productive by maintaining our priorities and still loving what we do, embracing our mission.
You were talking about, showing up. And I've always, we would all like to meet 20 people. that we can do business with. But sometimes the one person is more valuable than the 20. And we don't know before we get there. And so that's why showing up, because you might, whether it's a Zoom meeting, and that I've met several people on your Zooms that I'm now working with, and that it's interesting to me that so many of the people, and I say 90% of everybody I deal with is extremely honest and sincere in what it is. Most of them have the understanding they have to take care of themselves so they can provide value to somebody else. And I'm a big value given, value received. If it turns into a one-way street, the deal's no good because it will go away.
Yeah.
And if I hadn't shown up to those Zooms, I would not have had my personality and their personality meshed.
Yeah.
And so many of those people, I'll see them on your speaking Zoom mastermind, and then I'll see them on a business startup or a networking. I have people now that are actually totally in different groups that we're in the somehow they're in Maryland, I'm in Colorado, and we're showing up on a group that is crossed over, that it's not connected. And I'm a believer God puts people on my path for a reason. I just got to figure out what it's all about.
So let me ask you this. We don't have a lot of time left. How do you go to these different groups when it comes to productivity? How do you decide which groups to go to?
I consider myself fairly perceptive of people. I have to go, I have to show up to see. And yes, I'm making judgments. I'm making judgments if people have their signage up and back, or if they have something personal about themselves, like I have my patriotic stuff, uh, that draws me in. And then I get to know people. And there are some people is like, what the heck was I thinking? Yeah, but I've had many, many other people that have added value to my life. And it is my goal to be the best man that I can be the day I die. And I hope it's like 30 or 40 years. Uh, but,
Yeah.
but that's how I look at life, and it doesn't matter if it's somebody that's in the business and actually understands business, and maybe they're a little bit more progressive in what they'll attempt to do, or it's a new person that has had a terrible life and somehow they got the idea that they can make their life better. And I can help them by avoiding some of the pitfalls, but also kicking them in the butt, because I'm a big boy and don't take my time if you're not going to take my time and use it. so so that's how I am.
Oh,
Which
I love
I
that.
know some people would say I was a little goofy that way, but hey, it's my time. If I share it or I involve other people, whether I'm being paid or I'm paying, I want the most out of it.
Well, time is our most valuable asset.
Yeah.
It is. And whether we're speaking one to one or speaking from the stage, whatever that looks like, being productive allows us to honor the value of our time. So thank you for sharing that, Mac. I really appreciate that. All right, young man. Well, we're going to wrap it up today.
Thank
It was
you.
awesome
I
hanging
appreciate
out with you. It was just you and me. This was
it.
great. So if you
I
guys
feel so special.
I think you guys, for those of you watching this on the recording, man, it pays to show up. He got a lot of one-on-one time. This was awesome. All right, so
I blocked everybody else's notice.
I love it. All right, my friend. Well, enjoy the rest of your week, and we'll see you next Tuesday at 10 a.m. Mountain Time.
Thanks for what you do, Kathy.
My pleasure.
Bye.
Bye.